So I guess there's been a volley of videos going around about what do people mean by God. I know the Amazing Atheist TJ shot one up, and I guess Fred, a conference report, put one up, and I think that Matt and from Thou Art That has also been in on that exchange. I guess I would want to get at maybe some of this issue of otherness and what's called alterity, the notion of the radical otherness. And if, I mean, how do you say it? I think it has to do with first looking at simple everyday phenomena all around us in the world. You know, if you take the butterfly, you know, that comes out of the caterpillar, it's unfortunate that there are people who see that as a metaphor for the afterlife. They go, oh, look, you know, this thing changed forms and it grew into something else. They seem not to notice that that's just something that's going on in life. But it is interesting. I think that phenomena of something changing forms and becoming something else. I wonder, right? I think we all wondered, you know, does the butterfly have memories of being a caterpillar? You know, I think we want to say it probably doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it does, right? Maybe it does. I think we're going to say that it doesn't. But I think that maybe the larger question is, you know, what would be a better or a useful or more interesting way to see that as a metaphor? You know, and I thought, you know, maybe one way is to think of that strange little molecule, DNA, and how through cellular development and cellular organization and different forms of autonomous cell growth and, I guess, biological variety, you know, that molecule has enabled people to have a wisdom in their bodies that is millions and billions of years old. It's hard to, you know, get your head around. It's hard for me to really appreciate in all of what it means to say that one's body has wisdom and a kind of mindless, thoughtless intelligence that would far surpass anything like a cultural understanding, or certainly anything that could be written down and verbally transmitted. And, you know, I've heard so many people say, or people argue about this stupid or the intelligent nature of the world and the cosmos. The way that a single molecule like DNA is able to cheat death, I mean, haunt the world perpetually with variety as another, and never experience your own death, never, I mean, it's really quite fascinating. The phenomena itself of evolution and progeny, the multi-agedness of reality. It seems just out and out interesting. And I don't know if by a notion of God you need something that is outside of what you could think of. I think what you need is to be able to use what's inside of our experience as a point of how much can you open to I guess, your own limits, in the sense that there could be something beyond that, right? And so, again, if you go back to you have the butterfly, you know, and then you have the DNA molecule, and I think part of it is, you know, what would be a notion of God? I mean, maybe it's just a sense of the intelligence here, and it's a felt harmony with everything. And I don't think you have to have any particular beliefs about what would be radically other. See, I think that's part of the deal. to have particular beliefs about what is radically other is to somehow reduce it to kind of being the same. It's kind of like, there's a saying that says, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean that people aren't out to get you. So it's like, just because all of the ideas of God have been wrong doesn't mean that there still couldn't be something like God. Now, and I say that in the context of, I don't know what sense it would even make. What would one mean? I do think of it at least like this. I mean, as far as this question about the brain, does God exist in the brain? It would seem like if you can try to use these nouns as verbs, it kind of helps. Alan Watts says, just as a tree flowers, so the earth peoples. Yeah, the tree flowers and the earth peoples, and then people world, and then world gods. It's like people live in a world that have God or gods or some notion of an order which is, I don't know, it's more than humanly constructed. I think the more that we reduce the order of the cosmos to human construction, the more that I guess we fall into what I would call, a very problematic orientation. I think there is something larger than the human. That I think is really part of the concern. Can we learn to see the ultimate cosmos as something infinitely larger than we will be? I think no matter how much we gain control over maybe even our own bodies, there does seem to be much, much more, and again, I don't think that's even possible, right? I mean, I think in a lot of sense it doesn't even make sense, right? Will we control the weather? I mean, let's push that. Could we control the weather? Okay, we're going to control the weather, we'll control our bodies, we're now living forever, and we're now on ships that are going to go through the cosmos. What will the DNA strands, the genomes be of creatures in different places that have, I don't know, apparatus to detect magnetic fields and use sonar for communication and, communicate through different heat temperature variations in their body? I mean, the range of capacities that could be there it's hard, I guess, to get one's mind around it. I do believe that there is life elsewhere, if anyone cares. The universe is infinitely huge. It's bigger than we can imagine. The cosmos, I think, is more complex than a person can imagine. And the more that one could see the way that a little tiny DNA fragment on this planet, which is probably, again, this one little planet in one little place in what is infinite in comparison, has figured out a way to haunt time such that I was able to wake to a body that has a wisdom millions and millions of years old, and I'm circulating my blood, and I'm digesting my food and growing my hair, all with a kind of transcendence beyond the sheer surface that could be seen in the right here and right now. And again, I've said before, for each body that this DNA makes possible, it opens to a world in such a way that it does have a paradoxical eternality, such that it finds itself only after it's already begun, and it never has to experience its own death. It somehow gets near death, and then, if it's saying it's dead, well, then it's not yet, right? You're still waiting. Those, to me, are the meta-level caterpillar butterfly. They start to become not facts that I'm in awe of, but symbols of how much more there must be. It boggles the mind.